the best gaming phone you can buy right now, the RedMagic 11s Pro, and it has air and liquid cooling. But you can easily pick up this iPhone or this Galaxy anywhere on the planet. So is this RedMagic really worth it, especially once we uncover its nasty shortcomings? I'm Olive, and I'm gonna show you which one of these is the real king of mobile gaming. This RedMagic screams that it's made for gaming. It rocks a transparent back and RGB lighting in every single corner because it wouldn't be a gaming phone without them. It also has an old and reliable headphone jack plus shoulder triggers. These other two have nothing of that. They both also have massive camera bumps, while the RedMagic keeps things completely flush, which is a huge win because it can slide into any gaming controller effortlessly. The flip side though is that it is the heaviest phone of the bunch, and paired with a controller, it's sure to stress your wrists the quickest. Also, while this 24,000 RPM fan looks really cool, pun intended, having open air vents means it is not dust resistant like the iPhone and the Galaxy, though when it comes to water, all three are equally protected. But we know that you're here for the performance and the gaming experience, and that all kicks off with the displays. However, this is exactly where we start to see some of the major corners RedMagic had to cut to offer an unbeatable price on this Pocket Steam Deck. Looking at the basics, all of these displays are around the same size and they're all OLED panels. The RedMagic misses out on the LTPO tech found on these other two though, but as a trade-off, it can ramp up to 144 Hz. This definitely had a major impact in our battery drain test, but we'll get to that in just a bit. In everyday scenarios, brightness was almost neck and neck across the board, but for peak brightness, the RedMagic lagged really far behind, while the iPhone and the Galaxy cranked up their brightness levels by a mile. Diving even deeper, we also noticed the RedMagic packs the lowest resolution and the lowest PPI of the group. Even the front glass is listed as generic Gorilla Glass without any specific version named. These two give you more of everything, plus excellent anti-reflective coatings. This might not be gaming related, but the Galaxy does come with the amazing privacy display, and the iPhone supports Dolby Vision, which will definitely come in handy when you're just enjoying the NPC life. These are phones at the end of the day. One last weird quirk we notice on the RedMagic is some aggressive image retention, which again is totally non-existent on the iPhone or the Galaxy. You can pause the video right here for all of the display specs. So up to this point, these two have already proven they can give your eyeballs a much better visual experience than the RedMagic. But let's get into the heat of the action, literally, and show you which one of these will run your games the absolute best and which one won't be afraid of giving you first-degree burns. As expected, all three brands packed the most powerful chipsets they could find, with the RedMagic and Galaxy even running custom overclocked versions. RAM is a massive 16GB on the 11s Pro, while you get 12 on these other two. You can check the rest of the specs right here, but before we dive into our gaming results, there's one critical takeaway you need to know about the RedMagic. And it is the fact that it tops out at a maximum of 512GB of storage. Meanwhile, the Galaxy climbs to 1TB and the iPhone up to 2. There's zero micro SD card support on any of these, but that omission easily hurts the worst on the RedMagic, particularly when titles like Wuthering Waves already eat up more than 50 precious gigabytes of space. Okay, now let's start with an easy warm-up, Grid Legends. We set the RedMagic into Diablo mode and the Galaxy in performance mode for all of our tests to squeeze out the maximum performance. We ran this console port in graphics mode to really stress the GPUs. One thing to note is that this game usually runs at 30 FPS, but the developers unlocked a 40 FPS ceiling for these specific chipsets. And we're happy to report that all three hit that 40 FPS limit, but they weren't all flawless. The Galaxy suffered from the most frame drops, while the RedMagic got very hot. And honestly, it surprised us that the iPhone was the winner here, locking onto 40 FPS without turning into a toaster like the RedMagic. But let's step things up to Wuthering Waves with every single graphic setting maxed out, where we ran into even more surprises. For instance, both the RedMagic and the Galaxy can run the game using the Vulkan Graphics API, which you can toggle in the settings. This offers much better optimization, and as you can see, Kodo Games, the developer behind the game, exclusively unlocks a 90 FPS limit on the RedMagic with this mode active. The other two max out at 60. And wow, it held onto those frames like a cat clinging to a tree branch, only dipping slightly down to 81 FPS. These other two didn't perform badly by any means, but 81 FPS is still much better than 60 FPS. As a trade-off though, this RedMagic got seriously seriously hot, so you might want to grab some oven mitts if you plan on gaming with these settings. In less graphically demanding titles like PUBG Mobile, we got a stable 60 FPS across all three on the highest settings available. Temperatures were definitely much safer for the skin, with all three reaching around 99 degrees. PUBG doesn't natively support controllers, and playing on the iPhone can get a little annoying since the dynamic island cutout gets in the way. As for Call of Duty Mobile, we saw a very similar story, with all three maintaining a solid 60 FPS at absolute max graphics. Temperatures were respectable across the board here too, though the iPhone was clearly the chillest of the bunch this time around. So if you're still losing matches on these devices, it's nothing but a skill issue. Now, we didn't just call this a pocket-sized Steam Deck for nothing. Thanks to apps like Game Native, you can play your Steam library right here. No streaming, no internet connection, it's literally emulated on your phone. Emulation can land in a bit of a legal gray area, so if you want to load your own game files from local storage, we'd recommend sticking to abandonware. To be completely fair, you can run multiple emulators on the Galaxy just like you can on the RedMagic, but performance is going to vary depending on the specific game and your settings. Emulation on iOS is far more restricted, but as an Uno reverse card, iOS supports the widest library of native AAA console ports: Assassin's Creed, Control Ultimate Edition, Resident Evil, and many more. So if you want to jump straight into gaming instead of fixing graphical issues for 40 minutes, the iPhone ironically takes the crown. As for the stereo speakers on these devices, we think that the iPhone sounds the cleanest, but you're probably going to use headphones when gaming anyway. But of course, a smartphone isn't purely a gaming machine, and you might be surprised how they handle heavy productivity tasks. In apps like Lightroom, the iPhone took a flawless victory, blitzing through a batch export of 99 photos while the RedMagic finished dead last. And it wasn't a one-off thing either. When we exported a 5-minute 4K 30 FPS video project in CapCut, the RedMagic once again landed in last place while the iPhone took the crown again. This goes to show that in other than gaming optimization, the RedMagic isn't really outperforming anyone. Now, benchmarks are incredibly easy for manufacturers to manipulate, so take these numbers with a grain of salt, okay? Starting off with Geekbench 6, the iPhone displayed stronger single-core performance than these other two. But when it came to multi-core workloads, the RedMagic took first place, surpassing the already incredible score of the Galaxy. Moving over to graphical performance, in the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme stress test, the RedMagic absolutely wiped the floor with the other two. But it was here where we discovered that this guy is kind of an arsonist. We had to run this benchmark 1,000 times because it kept shutting down due to the extreme temperatures it reached. And that's with the fan and liquid cooling running at full blast. So we'd say that in terms of reliable performance, the Galaxy is a more fireproof bet. Finally, iOS and Android Antutu scores can't be directly compared due to different scoring systems. So use these numbers purely as a reference. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, this RedMagic is undeniably an absolute powerhouse, and it's great that game developers are giving it special perks like higher frame rates. However, dispersing heat is still a major issue no matter how much futuristic cooling RedMagic stuffs inside the chassis. Oh, and fan noise can get a bit annoying after a while. You will sacrifice some performance, but you can avoid burning temperatures by simply switching to a lower performance mode. But what you can't fix, and what is our absolute biggest gripe, is the lack of expandable storage options on top of that 512GB hard limit. And sure, you might assume that with all this power, the batteries on these phones drain faster than a barrel of beer at an English pub, but in reality, only one had that problem. Okay, so battery size, RedMagic wins. Wired charging, RedMagic wins. Wireless charging, surprise, surprise, RedMagic takes the crown again. But does all of this actually mean you're getting the best real-world battery life here? Not quite. So here's how our drain test goes. We calibrated all screens to 500 nits, turned off all battery-saving features, and ran our 9-app loop, which includes social media scrolling, 4K video recording, web browsing, navigation, gaming, plus video calling. The first one to meet the creator was the Galaxy, clocking a still very respectable 10 hours and 17 minutes. The RedMagic and its absolute unit of a battery pushed forward to hit 11 hours and 30 minutes. But due to some serious software magic, the iPhone outlasted them both, clocking nearly 13 hours on a single charge. Charging times told a completely different story though. When plugged into a 100-watt brick, the Galaxy was the quickest to reach a full charge. The RedMagic came in a close second, while the iPhone took its sweet time, taking roughly an hour and a half. So this proves the RedMagic does have some great optimization, but an LTPO display panel could have helped it close the battery life gap with the iPhone. However, there is a really neat feature on the RedMagic called charge separation, and when turned on, the phone bypasses the battery and draws power directly from the wall plug. This cuts down on heat while also protecting your battery's lifespan. That said, this feature is also available on the Galaxy, but it works exclusively while gaming and it gives you zero customization. Moving on, I have to tell you that when you carry the RedMagic as your daily driver, the list of wins doesn't exactly outweigh its major weak points. And I'm sure you saw this coming. The software support from RedMagic is still a hot mess. You're only going to get Android 17 and Android 18, and that's it. They do promise 5 years of security patches, but you get 7 years of OS and security updates on these two. On top of that, translations are rough. There is tons of bloatware, and the unlock sounds are from the 13-year-old Android 4.4 KitKat. But on the bright side, you do get Game Space, where you can deeply optimize the performance settings for all of your games. It also acts like a wall for when you want to separate your everyday life from your gaming time. And you also get Mora for reasons? So those are certainly great features, but for day-to-day use, we found the Galaxy far more complete and refined. You get actual helpful AI features, plus Samsung DeX for a full desktop experience. Also, you do get a game mode on the Galaxy 2, though once again, it's not as deep as what we have on the RedMagic. Now, before we drop our final verdict and reveal the price tags, which change everything, we quickly have to talk about the cameras. Let's be honest, most of you looking at a dedicated gaming phone aren't putting cameras at the top of your priority list. But what if I told you that the RedMagic doesn't fare all that bad? I mean, the iPhone and the Galaxy are completely superior, but if you just care about decent stills, this gaming phone will absolutely do the job. Having said that, video recording is definitely a weak spot. Both the main and ultra-wide lenses deliver rather underwhelming footage paired with pretty much non-existent stabilization. Plus, while the iPhone and the Galaxy both give you tele-lenses, RedMagic didn't even bother putting one on this phone at all. But again, thanks to that, we have no camera bumps at all. Yet the absolute worst camera on the RedMagic is the front-facing one. But RedMagic intentionally sacrificed image quality to offer a display with absolutely zero cutouts, because when you're not using this cam, it magically disappears. However, don't even get us started on the front-facing video quality, because it is just flat out worse. Okay, so is this RedMagic 11S Pro really worth it? I mean, for the $799 it retails for, we'd honestly say yes. And that's regardless of all the things it doesn't do perfectly, because it's still an absolute powerhouse for gaming, which is the exact reason it was built in the first place. But if you look at every single angle, then the Galaxy S26 Ultra is actually the best overall gaming phone you can buy. Because even if it doesn't come with funky RGB LEDs, it not only runs games almost as smoothly as the RedMagic, but it handles everything else you use a smartphone for much better. And while it's more expensive, you can find an official refurbished unit for around $988. Plus, just like the iPhone, you can pick one up no matter where you live in the world. Now, talking about the iPhone, it definitely has its perks, like that great library of native console ports. But for $1,199, we can't really say it plays on the same value battlefield as the RedMagic. But if pricing is not an issue for you, go check out our Galaxy and iPhone comparison to see how one of these might just scam you out of your hard-earned cash at full retail price. Also, in case you want exclusive access to videos and perks, go ahead and press that join button. Here's a very special shout out to our latest Ultra members, Pandas, Matthew, Crimalo, Cow, Francisco, and Maya. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and hit subscribe, because we're always testing the latest tech to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.